My name's Kris Ohlson, and I'm a wellness coach here at Beacon Health and Fitness. And thank you guys for coming today, and we're going to talk about self-care. So before we get started, now that you have all these papers and things in your hands, I would like you to put them on your chair, and everybody stand up a second. All right? And give yourself a tiny bit of space between the person next to you. Stagger a little bit. And we're going to take a deep breath in and reach for the sky. So everybody take a deep breath in. Reach up, try to touch the ceiling. Hold your breath. And exhale, big exhale. Do it again. Big inhale. Hold it. Exhale. One more time. Big inhale. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Hold it. Big exhale. Very good. Congratulations. You just practiced some self-care. Well done. Well done. Have a seat. Self-care is taking care of our well-being through restorative activities. And we're meant to tend to our self-care just like any other kind of health care on a regular basis, not wait until some major stressor occurs, because if we do that, we're already a little bit behind, right? And each one of us has a lot of stressors in our lives. To be alive means to have stress. So we have our daily stressors, the traffic, we can't find our keys, whatever it is. And then each one of us also has major stressors from time to time. We have health issues. We have all the things that happen in our lives. Everybody has major stressors. So if we're taking care of ourselves, self-care in most ways, on most days, that's the way that we can find a general sense of harmony and balance. So how well do you think you're doing in your self-care? We're going to find out. The first thing we're going to do is take a little self-care quiz. And in your little stack of papers there, I know this is going to be tough because you really don't have anything to write on, but there's not a lot of writing required. But I kind of want you to go through this quickly. Don't give each one of these items a lot of thought. Just give it a quick answer. And then on the back, you'll see how to score your quiz. And I have any surprises? Did you fall about where you thought you might? Okay. Anybody need a lot of work? Anybody? Okay. Somebody's pointing at somebody. Okay. So some people need to give themselves a little more self-care. That's why we're here today. We're here to learn a little bit more about that. So, all right, well, it's just something to pay attention to, that we all need to pay attention to what we need, and all of our needs might be a little bit different. So today, first, we're going to talk a little bit about the big picture of self-care, and then we're going to talk about some smaller daily habits of self-care. And the big picture of self-care has us thinking about some things that if we get them in place, they take a little bit more time and planning, and they go a long way toward harmony in our lives, which is a huge piece of self-care. They take a bit of time and planning, and they're well worth it. So the first part of the big picture is taking care of our physical bodies. And I'm not going to talk a lot about that because it's something we've been working on all month with New Year's Revolution, but it has to do with eating mostly healthy foods, exercising our bodies with intention, drinking lots of water, getting good sleep, all of the things that we've been working on all month. So we know that when we are striving to have healthy bodies, we feel better, we do better, and life just goes more smoothly. So when we are making our health a priority, that goes a long way toward our overall self-care. The second thing I want to talk about in our overall self-care and the big picture might be a little surprising, but it has to do with getting and feeling organized. So how many of you would like to end 2024 feeling a bit more organized? Raising 2 hands. Barb is. And this can have to do with your house, your car, your office, your finances, your calendar, your relationships, whatever it is. Feeling a bit more organized goes a long way in our overall self-care, whether it's trying to find your keys when you're trying to get out the door, or when you're coming in the door to your house feeling a general sense of calm. And for a lot of us, the hardest part is getting started, right? In getting and feeling organized. We can become a bit overwhelmed and almost to the point of being paralyzed at getting started because maybe the project seems too big. If you look at your house and the whole thing seems a bit unorganized, well, I don't have time to do all of this, so I don't even know where to start. So here are some tips to help you sort of figure out how to get and feel more organized. The first thing is to have a plan. Sort of have a plan on when you're going to do something, what you're going to do, and how you're going to do it. It helps to get your mind right. Let's get our minds right, folks. Like, when are you going to do something? And it doesn't help to sit there and think, oh, I really should do thus and so, but I don't feel like it. If you get your mind right, having a plan that tomorrow or Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I'm going to start working on this project. And what the project is, having a plan, that's the first point. And in a lot of things, we like to think big, right? We think thinking big, but in this case, we want to think small. Think very small. Pick a drawer, pick a closet, pick something where you know you'll be successful, because success breeds motivation and motivation breeds success. Pick something small. One part of the closet, one drawer, whatever. The third thing is to be consistent. Once you get the project rolling, if it's Saturday mornings that work for you, then put that on your calendar. It's all right. Put that on your calendar and be consistent. Chip away at the project. Keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away at it, and you'll start to see progress. And then the last thing is be brutally honest. Be brutally honest. Do you really want this, need this? Would it do to just take a picture of it? Do your kids want it? That's a lot of times what I think when I'm looking at things. Do I want to leave this to my kids? They're going to pitch it. I have boxes of old photos. If I don't know who those people are, I feel a little bad, like they must be related to somebody. But if I don't know who they are, so being brutally honest about your things. So maybe you want to feel more organized with your time or your money or your calendar, whatever it is, the points are the same. Having a plan, being consistent, starting small, and being honest with yourself. So being organized and feeling organized goes a long way in the big picture of self-care. The third point is, and I could do really a whole talk on this, and you might agree, having personal boundaries. Knowing what they are and being willing to keep them. Being willing to say no to things so that you can say yes to yourself. Sometimes personal boundaries can have kind of a negative connotation, like you're being selfish or being negative for one reason or the other. But having personal boundaries it's really honoring your limits, and a lot of times it protects relationships. And I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I had a client who came in and we were just chit-chatting, and she happened to mention to me that she had a friend who was asking her to watch her kids and kept asking her, and my client said, I didn't mind helping her in a pinch, but I can't help her. I don't want to, and I just can't. help her watch her kids all the time. And in my gut, I want to say no, and I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, but I don't want to hurt the friendship. And I said, well, I think it's already hurting the friendship if you feel like you're being taken advantage of. There's already some damage taking place there, so maybe you need to figure out a boundary around this. So after some conversation, we figured out a way that she could say, I'm not able to help you with this, but maybe I could help you find someone else who is able to watch your kids on a regular basis. And that was something that she felt comfortable with, that honored her limits, but also protected the relationship. So when you state your boundaries, stay strong, because you might be met with attempted guilt or manipulation. And your response really needs to be, yeah, I just can't help you with that. You don't need to give any excuses or reasons or apologies. You're honoring your limits, and you're really trying to protect the relationship. So it's not always easy, but think about what boundaries would help you, your life, have more ease and clarity, and be prepared with responses for people who try to push your boundaries.
Well,
No, go right ahead.
This comes up often, and they don't start off by saying, can you watch my kids? They say, what are you doing Tuesday?
That's a very good point. And if you know this to be a person who might be doing that, you say, well, I'm not really sure why. What do you got? Yeah, that's a good point. If anybody has any questions or comments at any time, feel free to jump in.
I do like that no is a consent.
Yes.
You don't have to explain. You don't have to, because I think for those of us that do feel the guilt or whatever, it's like, no, because this and this and this, and you just want to give them all of this word salad, and it's just like
word salad.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just not able to do that.
Makes sense.
Right. And the other side of that is that we need to honor other people's boundaries as well. And it's got to be a two-way street. So yeah, but it's a good point to be able to, if somebody starts it off in a way that you're not sure what they're asking you. Well, I'm not sure. I don't have my calendar with me. What do you want? What are you asking me? But yeah, to be able to say no, it's not always easy, and especially I've talked to people who are grandparents in here. You don't want to say no, but sometimes you might have to say no. So boundaries. There are some handouts here on your way out. There's a little more information on some of these topics. Goes a little bit more in depth if you want to pick up some information on these. And I know there's one on boundaries. I think it says like 9 points on setting healthy boundaries or something. The fourth point in the big picture of self-care is connection. Being connected to people, friends, family, causes. And for some of us, this comes very easily and naturally to the point we don't even know why this is a thing, right? But for those of us who don't have that in our lives, it really is super important. And in the last few years, we've become more isolated than ever. And obviously, there were reasons where we had to be somewhat isolated, but now it has continued. And in some cases, it's almost become okay to remain isolated. But we really are social creatures. And even those of us who are somewhat more introverted, we need to feel some social connection. Whether that's through friends and family, or church, book club, coming to the gym is something, as long as you have some connection here. And we work very hard to help facilitate that and help that to happen. So that's really important. And it might be something that you have to work on. And social connection, people who have lower or higher levels of social connection tend to have lower levels of anxiety and depression. There have been studies that show social connection helps our healthcare. We have our blood pressure, our immune system, and we even live longer lives if we feel that we are socially connected. And the key word there is that we feel socially connected. It's not a matter of having lots and lots and lots of friends. It's that we feel that we are connected. One really important point, and I was talking about this before we got started, there have been studies to show that volunteering has a huge health benefit, especially for people who feel isolated and then they figure out ways to become connected through volunteerism, because you feel you have a purpose, you are contributing to society, you feel you are contributing, and you feel connected in that way. So if you are a person who feels you need some of that connection in your life, I encourage you to sort of find a bit of adventurous spirit and figure out some ways to get connected. And if you are a person who has this in abundance in your life, I would encourage you to reach out to someone who just doesn't have that and maybe help them to figure out ways that they can be connected. It really is super important in our overall well-being. The fifth thing in the big picture is having a positive mental attitude. And I know that sounds a little bit cliche, but having a general positive attitude toward life is a large part of self-care. And again, like connection, this comes a little more naturally for some of us than others, but it is something that you can cultivate for yourself. If you're a person that kind of tends to lean toward the negative, you can train your mind to become a more positive person. I've seen it happen, and I've worked with people, with clients in my wellness coaching, and help them to reframe it and retrain their brains to become a little bit more positive. And the way this happens is we all have an inner voice. And in any given situation, if you just listen to that inner voice, and if you sort of see yourself swaying toward the negative, if you can take a beat and pause and sort of reframe that and come up with a positive thought. And it's in that moment, it's in that reframing that the training happens. And it's like any other habit that you want to change about yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the first try. It takes doing it over and over and over again. And it might not even happen in that moment. Maybe it's later when you think, other people had a more positive reaction to thus and so, but I kind of went more toward the negative. How could I have changed that? So it may take a few tries for you to get toward the positive, but you can train yourself to be a more positive thinker. I'm sure all of you in here are already quite positive thinkers. People with generally positive outlooks tend to surround themselves with positive people and positivity. I think I gave you all a sheet of positive quotes. I love to read those and find something that is meaningful for me in whatever day or thing I need. I pull those out. And I would say in general, just don't take yourself or life too seriously. Have a sense of humor. Laughter really is the best medicine, right? Be kind. Kindness, be kind to yourself and others. That goes a long way toward your positive mental attitude and in your overall health care or self-care. So, are there any questions about those sort of setting yourself up for success in the big picture? Well, now we're going to talk about these daily tips and what you're going to be doing next week. If you've come here looking for permission to get a massage or a mani-pedi, you have my blessing. By all means, go for it. Absolutely. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. But self-care doesn't have to mean going on a trip or doing those things. But if you want to do that and you can do that, do it. But I think you have a list in front of you of some more in-the-moment, easy and inexpensive ways to add self-care to your daily life. It's on this sheet here. And this week, your challenges have you focusing on gratitude, breathing, and joy. Tell me some of the things that you all do or currently do, since it sounds like some of you already have some self-care in place. Tell me some of the things that you are already doing for your kind of daily self-care activities, or maybe some bigger self-care activities. What are some of the things that you like to do?
You know, your watch helps you breathe, just by having that on there. You know, take a minute, relax, and I think sometimes when you don't normally do it, it really is a way
Okay.
to get 4 or 5 minutes of relaxation.
Okay. So it's a reminder. You have a watch that's a reminder. Awesome. Barb.
The classes here are so phenomenal, and you know, there's so many choices and so many ways and methods you enjoy, so you feel good about going to it. It's not a chore.
So that's part of your self-care. The classes, coming to the classes here are enjoyable. Nice.
I keep a journal every day. I journal is a to-do list, and when I'm doing my to-do list, I realize I'm grateful that I'm able to do this stuff. And some of the stuff that I'm doing, wow, I have this stuff, I'm so fortunate. And that really helps me reframe doing the dishes of life. I'm grateful that I'm able to, that I have the dishes to do.
Nice. What a great, did everybody hear what she said? So where you might look at a chore, if I have to do the dishes, and it's on the to-do list, but also being grateful that you have the dishes and that you're able to do the dishes and that you had the food to put on the dishes in the first place.
And I call dishes of life anything like that. Making beds, cleaning the house, organizing, keeping my system going.
So it's a gratitude, it's a to-do list that becomes gratitude.
Yes, and that when I do this, it's not a chore. It's not just a chore. It's I think about this.
I love it. I love that. Anybody else?
You all.
You what?
Allow myself a glass of wine with you.
A glass of wine.
Occasionally a cocktail.
Oh, boy.
Love it. Yeah?
Good.
Cocktail? Perfect. That works for me.
Actually, I do the cooking in the house and I go in the kitchen and all that help with my because she goes to work. So I stay at home and do the chores that I have to do. So that just gives me gratitude that she comes home and she enjoys the dinner that I cook.
Oh.
And she's never thrown it back at me. So that's the satisfaction that I get.
Nice.
But the problem that I have is the TV. I watch the TV news and I get so pissed off
Yeah.
at all the people lying, newscasters. Almost 97% of them are lying through their teeth.
It's stressful.
I'm like, my God, I feel like taking my gun and shooting the TV.
Oh dear.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's why you don't watch the news.
Huh?
That's why you don't watch the news.
Well, you have to keep up
Oh,
with
you
what's
do.
going on, you know? And what I see going on is not making me happy, you know, because I lived through what is coming to the United States now. I was born in Europe, I was 11 and a half, and I was hungry. In Hungary, of course.
You were hungry and hungry?
No, I was, and I didn't have food to eat because I was under Russian socialist economy. And I remember having to sneak through the field just to steal a piece of carrot so I'd have something to eat.
Wow.
Because everybody's equal in socialism, and no one has anything except the oligarchs. So I see it coming here. So that pisses me off. But I'm also a veteran, an American veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And I served 3 years in the Army. I went to Korea for a year. And let me tell you, what I see with what's going on now is just very upsetting.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for your service. Yeah.
How do I get rid of that?
Limit your
Just stress.
Limit the time watching the news and listening to it. Just, I've had to limit myself too. It gets scary and very upsetting, so I had to
The
limit.
whole line. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But,
Yeah.
you know,
That's tough.
Limiting that mind at no time.
I will be interested if you try some of these, like in this next week, some of the deep breathing. It might seem silly. It's not going to change. It's not going to change the world, but it may change. You know, there are certain things you can't change in the world, but you can change your response.
And grateful that, you know, look where you've come from and what you have today.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's so many ignorant people here that don't listen, don't know, don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
But then I go out and work, and I feel happy about what I accomplished. So
Yeah.
and I cook, so
Yeah.
that helps out. So.
Yeah.
Kris, I was going to say, I think that sometimes it's how you react to things. So, you know, I have a lot of people, oh my gosh, look at all the snow, and, you know, in the last few weeks that we've received here. And to think about, like, I took a photo and sent it to my family. It's like, look at all the snow on my deck. We have like 14 inches. And I'm like, but this is nothing compared to if you live in LaPorte or Michigan City.
Yeah.
Double the amount.
Right.
Which actually was like a positive thing. I was like, oh, that's not so bad. We're good.
Right.
You know, so it's like how you look at things. Like, you can look at it negatively or saying, oh, wow, that was awesome. We didn't get what they got.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. I sent a picture of the snow to my son who lives in Houston, and he said, oh, I miss that. So I know some people might think meditation is a little out there, a little different, a little strange or something. But this is only 2 minutes, so I think we'll all be okay. And we don't have to do any weird like om or anything like that. And no, because I think we're going to have everybody kind of put your feet flat on the floor. Kind of just rest your hands comfortably. And if you can, just sort of close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. If you're not comfortable, let's see if this stayed on. All right. So this is a meditation, 2 minutes, about gratitude, which is something that we're going to be focusing on this week.
Start by taking a couple of deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth to clear your head and relax your body. Good. And now think of something that you're grateful for. Something or some person. It can be anything at all. It can be something big, or it can be something really small. Think of one thing that you're grateful for, and try to picture it in your mind right now. What do you see? What are you grateful for? And now begin to say thank you for whatever it is. Thank you for that thing or that person. Say thank you in your mind or out loud. And and begin to feel that gratitude. Take a moment now and just repeat that thanks a few more times. Really allowing yourself to feel that gratitude. Good. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
That's all I have for you. Let me